Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the new chapter, that is biotechnology. This is the part, or we can say the next part of genetics. Biotechnology is an applied branch of biology which shows interaction between the biological science and technology. So, the biological science, that is genetics, we can say here, and technology applied to the genetics. So the term biotechnology was first used by Carl Eric in 1919. Biotechnology is defined as the development and utilization of biological forms, products, or processes for obtaining maximum benefits to man and other forms of life. That means biological things, biological animals, or any kind of organism like bacteria even used for the betterment for humankind. According to OECD, that is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, it is the application of scientific and engineering principles to the processing of materials by biological agents. So biological agents are used to change something, that is genetical change, in any organism, and that can be used for the betterment, or we can say for the formation of the product, which is actually helpful to improve, or we can say for the human welfare. So here the technology which is included is engineering. So biotechnology is a kind of a branch of engineering also, and biology. So biological agent means any plant or animal cells, maybe microorganism, maybe enzymes or their products. So it uses scientific principles of microbiology, genetic biochemistry, chemical genetics, biochemistry, chemical engineering, mathematics, statistics, computers, industrial processes, etc. So history of origin of biotechnology is an old as human civilization. So traditional biotechnology and modern biotechnology. We all know that traditional biotechnology, that fermentation technology that we have heard, there is a formation of yogurt, cheese, vinegar, even sugar, jaggery and all. So people did not know the organism are responsible for this process and how exactly the process occurs. But now it is a science because we know everything behind that, and the mechanism or processes, that also the nature of microorganism causing these processes, that we also came to know, and that is the traditional biotechnology. Now we have gained that much knowledge, so we can use that organisms according to our need. So that can be termed as the modern biotechnology. So it is a combination of biology and production technology along with genetic engineering, which evolved into modern biotechnology, that is the new biotechnology. So technique has changed the overall structure, we can say, the overall outlook of traditional biotechnology. The technique permits to change or modify the genetic, that is heritable material, for getting new specific products. For example, in 1970, the technique of recombinant DNA technology, in short form it is termed as rDNA technology, developed by Stanley and Herbert Boyer. So the major two features of technology which differentiate modern technology from the classical or old biotechnology, that is the ability of science to change the genetic material for getting new specific products through rDNA technology, uh, or polymerase chain reaction PCR, or microarrays, or cell culture and fusion, and bioprocessing. So ownership of biotechnology and its socio-political impact. So now the conventional industries, that is pharmaceutical industries, pharma industries, agriculture industries, food industries, are also focusing attention to produce biotechnology based products. Principles and processes of biotechnology. Modern biotechnology is based on two core techniques, genetic engineering and chemical engineering. So genetic engineering deals with the alteration of genetic material, that may be DNA or RNA, while the chemical engineering deals with the maintaining sterile environment for manufacturing variety of useful products. sterile environment, that means unwanted microorganisms, which prevents growth of unwanted microorganisms which actually disturbs the process that we need. So which also includes the vaccines, antibodies, enzymes, organic acid, vitamins, and therapeutics formation or production. Genetic engineering is defined as the manipulation of genetic material towards the desired gene and directed the predetermined way using in vitro process. That means desired gene is inserted and or manipulated the genome of any organism, and the product which is which actually or organism which is involved in the production of some other material which have to process or product the product that we need. So manipulation of genes involve repairing of the defective gene or replacing of defective gene by healthy gene or normal genes. So the genes which are present which can be repaired or can be replaced. Artificial synthesizing of the total new gene must be produced, and the transfer of gene into a new location or into a new organism, introducing a new gene into the organism. Manipulation of gene for improvement of living organisms, that is the formation of insulin by bacteria, we can say. So bacteria producing gene can be inserted inside the bacteria. Combining of genes from two organisms, altering the genotype where the changes takes place, in short. And gene cloning, that is the number of organisms are formed with the manipulated gene, that is termed as gene cloning. So thereby the genetic engineering is alternatively called rDNA technology or gene cloning. Technique of gene cloning or rDNA technology here, which is known for function, can be transferred from its normal location into a cell does not contain it through a suitable vector. So the material which is not present or a gene which is not present in that thing, a vector, that means a transferable organism or any material of gene or genetic material, is used as a vector to make reach the gene that we need to insert in that organism. So the transferred gene is replicated normally and it is passed to the next progeny. So that means when that organism reproduces, that gene that we have inserted that pass to the next generation naturally. So different instruments that are used, tools and techniques for gene cloning or RDN technology. So first, different devices, instruments, we can say. Inside the living cells, the various macromolecules are synthesized like DNA, RNA, proteins. So these macromolecules are varying their molecular weight, solubility, presence of charges, maybe they're positive or negative ions, absorbance of light, etc. For the isolation and study of character of these macromolecules, several techniques are used. So these molecules having different size of molecules, therefore their molecular weights are also different. So on the basis of molecular weights are different methods are used to separate them. So it can be osmotic pressure, it may be ion exchange, it may be ion exchange chromatography, it may be spectroscopy or the mass spectroscopy, and generally used, that is electrophoresis or gel permeation. Electrophoresis, that is generally used for the separation of charged molecules. So applying an electric field, it is applied for the separation of DNA, RNA and proteins. As DNA is negatively charged, migrates to the anode, small fragments of DNA molecules move faster and separates faster. So use of agrogel electrophoresis, that PAGE, SDA, PAGE are the different methods of electrophoresis that we are not going to study in detail, just names are given. So polymerase chain reaction, that is PCR, in 1985, Mullis have discovered the PCR. So there is a device that is used for gene cloning or genetic or gene multiplication in vitro. Polymerase chain reaction used for the amplification of gene of interest. So gene that we need, that we determine which is useful for us, that gene can be amplified, that means produced in its multiple numbers. So PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction, can generate a billions of copies of desired genes of DNA or RNA, or maybe a fragment, a kind of particular segment of DNA with high accuracy, that means without any change, and specifically in few hours, we can say, that means within less time. The process of PCR is completely automated, that means it is automated, so there is no human involvement. So thermal cycles for the denaturation and renaturation of double stranded DNA, that means the breaking down of double stranded into single stranded, and again formation of double stranded from single strands. So the device required for PCR is called thermal cycler. PCR requires DNA containing the desired segment to be amplified. The thing, that's DNA segment which needs to amplify several molecules of 4 deoxyribonucleoside triphosphatase, that is DNTPs. Excess, these are the part of course, nucleotides. So excess kind of nucleotides, excess of two primary molecules which actually useful for the starting point. Heat stable DNA polymerase, an enzyme which is useful for the binding of the two nucleotides. Appropriate quantities of magnesium ions. Mechanism of polymerase chain reaction. Here the PCR machine is that picture is given. At the start PCR DNA segment, an excess of two primer molecules, 4-deoxyribonucleosides triphosphatase, and the thermostable DNA polymerase are mixed together in Eppendorf. That is the material which used as a raw material, which is deoxyribonucleoside triphosphates, and thermostable DNA polymerase, which is enzyme used for it. PCR operations are carried out in stepwise manner. That is, first denaturation. In this stage, the double-stranded DNA make a single-stranded by heating at about 90 to 98 degree, where usually 15 minutes are required to complete this process, where what we can say, the hydrogen bonds between the two nucleotides of two strands, opposite nucleotides of the two strands, are break. Annealing. In this stage, the temperature reduced to 40 to 60 degree, where the DNA primer is easily attached with the DNA template. A high temperature prevents the primer and template to anneal. Anneal, that means to binding with each other. So what this primer is doing, which actually starts which is the 20 to 30 base long and are single stranded DNA, this primer, and this act as a starting point of DNA synthesis. Primer extension. The temperature is raised to 70 to 75 degrees Celsius so that thermostable Taq polymerase enzyme bind with the annealed primer. So this Taq polymerase is actually adds the nucleotides, which is known as primer extension. This enzyme heat loving so that very stable, high in temperature, which required high temperature in stable form. So this temperature is enough for the enzyme to build complementary DNA strands. Taq polymerase works its ways along the DNA, adding complementary nucleotide, that is one which gets actually attached to the one single strand, and opposite complementary nucleotides are formed and arranged along with the opposite line of the first strand. So using the DNTPs, which are the nucleotides which are present as a raw material, so usually 2 minutes are required to complete this process. Here a kind of central dogma in diagram form which is given, where the 5 dash 3 dash ends are opposite in this first step. Here you can check where that denaturation by heat, where the two strands are separated. After that, the addition of specific primer which takes place into opposite direction, of course 5 dash 3 dash, and the polymerization or extension of DNA strands, the opposite complementary strands are formed on each strand. One cycle takes around 3 to 4 minutes to begin. Second cycle, DNA again heated to convert double stranded DNA into single strands. So in an automatic thermal cycler, the above three steps are automatically repeated 20 to 30 times. Thus at the end of n cycles, double stranded copies of DNA segments are produced. So n to 2n copies. So the machine performs the entire operations automatically and precisely. So there is no human involvement, so there is less chances of error. Once the desired number of cycle is completed, the amplified DNA segment is purified by gel electrophoresis. That means the primer can be removed by using gel electrophoresis. After its sequencing, the amplified DNA segment can be inserted into a cloning vector. That means cloning vector, a vector, that means a kind of, we can say, which transfers this DNA into a desired organism. So desired gene can also be obtained from gene library. So desired gene which is not available in any organism, that can be obtained from gene library. Gene library that we are going to study in another chapter. Biological tools which are used for it. So the enzymes and cloning vectors, that is the vehicle DNA which actually transfer a desired DNA. Competent host which actually receiver which receives the desired gene and multiplies it and by the cloning. So enzymes, different enzymes includes lysozymes, nucleases such as exonucleases. Nucleases, that means which actually breaks the nuclear envelope. So nucleases such as exonucleases, endonucleases, restriction endonucleases, which actually opens up that DNA for the process. DNA ligases and DNA polymerases. DNA ligases just to breaking down the DNAs, cutting down the DNAs, and DNA polymerases for the binding. Alkaline phosphatases to form environment, or we can say the act as a buffer. Reverse transcriptase, which actually useful for the formation of new DNA strands. Restriction enzymes, enzymes that cut the phosphodiester bonds of polynucleotide chains are called nuclease. So there are two types, exonucleases and endonucleases. Exonucleases cut nucleotides from the ends of DNA strands, whereas the endonuclease cut DNA in the middle area. So exo, that means the outside, and endo means from the inside. So phosphodiester backbone at highly specific sites of both strands of duplex, it is cut by these enzymes. So when this phosphodiester backbone, that phosphodiester strands, backside molecules are cutted down, which is called the restriction endonucleases or simply restriction enzymes. They were given this name because they are used by the bacteria to destroy various viral DNAs which enters the cell. Thereby potential growth of the virus stop. Hence restriction enzymes serve as defense mechanism. Bacteria protects its own DNA from nucleolytic attack by methylating the bases of susceptible sites, a chemical modification that blocks the action of this enzyme. So the restriction enzymes are thus molecular scissors which are specifically used to recognize the cut DNA at specific sequence. Otherwise, viral DNAs are actually going to be blocked by the whole and soul, that a nucleus, or what we can say the DNA which is present in the organism. So here we are going to use as a vector, so that vector may be bacteria. So bacteria's DNA is going to avoid that DNA, but because of the restriction enzyme, that recognition sequence, restriction endonucleases, which helps the DNA to insert into it by the recognition site. Recognition site is characterized by specific recognition sequence for endonuclease. Table encloses the list of some restriction endonucleases and the site by which the cleave DNA. That you can check afterward. Here is only the list given, and which is not at all important. Just name of some sources of organism of stain like Arthrobacter lites, Bacillus, Escherichia coli, E. coli, and H. influenzae, RD. And the restriction enzymes that are found respectively, that's ALU1, BAMH1, EcoRI, and HIND2, that's HIND2, which are obtained from it. These are the name of and sources of some restriction enzymes. There is also the end products produced, that is the blunt ends, that which is there is no point to attachment which is provided. Sticky ends, that means points of attachments are provided by these restriction enzymes on the DNA. recognition sequence, where the sequence of DNA bases that can be recognized by restriction enzymes for the restriction or cutting, which exist as palindromic sequence, are 4 to 8 nucleotides in length. So which can be termed as palindromes, which are the mirror image, we can say. So consider the particular sequence recognized by the enzyme EcoRI. So here you can check CTTAAG from 3' to 5', and which is equally opposite in the opposite strand CTTAAG. So we have to read from 3' end only, so which will be equal. But at the middle we can say that GAA from the 5', again the GAA, T in the middle, and CT on the other sides. So DNA showing palindromic sequences in this diagram, where the restriction enzyme which actually finds the EcoRI registration sequence, where it cut it down and forms two different and cut it down that one DNA into two pieces, where the blunt ends are formed on the both the pieces of DNA. When one reads the sequence of opposite direction 3' to 5' or 5' to 3', it is identically same, that is palindrome. So sequence of base pairs that are present on the same order on the two strands when orientation of reading in opposite direction is same, that is called the palindrome. When the enzyme EcoRI attacks this palindrome, it breaks each strand at the same site in the sequence, which is indicated by the arrow between the A and G residues at the 5' end. So restriction enzymes either cut straight across the DNA in the region of palindrome to give blunt ends, or cuts producing short single stranded projections, as here given that shown in this figure. So the restriction enzymes are produces two DNA segments with the blunt end or with the sticky ends. Cloning vectors, vehicle DNA. Vectors are DNA molecules that carry a foreign DNA segment and replicate inside the host cell. So vectors may be plasmids, bacteriophages, that is M13 lambda virus we can say, maybe cosmid, phagmids, BAC, that is bacterial artificial chromosome, YAC, yeast artificial chromosome, transposons, baculoviruses, and mammalian artificial chromosomes, that is MCQs. Transposons are also a part of part of DNA. So most commonly used vectors are plasmid vectors, that is PBR322, PUC, or TI plasmid, and bacteriophages. Bacteriophages which actually infects the bacteria, a virus which infects the bacteria, that is lambda phase or M13 phase. So plasmids and bacteriophages are most commonly used as vectors. A good vector should have the ability of independent replication, so that the vector replicates through ORI gene, that is ORI gene, and large number of copies of DNA insert will be formed. So moreover, vector here, the ORI gene, that is the point of origin, we can say the starting point. Moreover, the vector should be able to easily introduce into the host cell, and a vector should have marker genes for it, that is the antibiotic resistance marker genes which are shown on it. So which maybe we can identify whether the gene is properly inserted in a vector or not. That means the process of inserting of particular desired gene in a vector is performed properly or not, and when it is acted in the bacteria, where the bacteria replicates, the gene replicates, means number of bacteria are cloned, that time that gene is replicated or not, that is the desired gene which is inserted by us, which can be identified by using that kind of marker genes only. Antibiotic resistance vector must be a vector should have marker genes, and there is one reason, that is antibiotic resistance, because that bacteria is going to avoid that foreign gene. Must contain unique cleavage site, of one marker gene of restriction enzyme, where it is particular site which is shown by that marker gene to accept that bacterial accept by the bacterial DNA. It should have at least suitable control elements like promoter, operator, ribosomal binding sites, which must provide promoter, that is promoted the activity, operator where the operational site is given, ribosomal binding sites we can say, etc. The plasmids obtained naturally do not possess all characteristics that we required. So they are constructed by inserting genes for antibiotic resistance. For example, PBR322, PBR320, PACYC from the yeast 177 are constructed plasmids. PBR322 is mostly used in rDNA technology in plants. First vector, that is plasmid, that we are going to study in detail. The plasmids which replicate in E. coli are commonly used in recombinant DNA technology. So investigators have engineered this plasmid to optimize their use as vectors in DNA cloning. So plasmids are cloning vectors showing a replication origin where the ORI here, the point which is given in the diagram, which is a drug resistant gene and region in which the foreign DNA can be inserted. Plasma vectors for plants. A plasmid vectors for plants. A plasmid of Agrobacterium tumefaciens are used as vector for carrying new DNA into many plants. So this bacterium lives in the soil and causes a plant disease called crown gall, which is characterized by the presence of overgrowths or tumors in the plant. So Agrobacterium tumefaciens contains a plasmid called TI plasmid, tumor inducing plasmid. The TI plasmid contains transposon, that is called tDNA, which inserts copies of itself into the chromosomes of infected plant cells. So here is the entry of bacterial DNA into the plant cell takes place. So transposons, which actually moving DNA we can say, which transfers the particular segment of DNA into the host, with the new DNA can still be inserted into the host cell's chromosomes. A plant cell containing this DNA can then be grown in culture or induced to form new transgenic plant. Competent host, that is cloning organism. The bacteria like Bacillus, Haemophilus, Helicobacter pylori, that is, and E. coli, that is Escherichia coli, are usually used as competent host. Mostly E. coli is used for the transformation with recombinant DNA. Here we are going to stop. Methodology for rDNA technology we are going to study in the next lecture.